Damn, man, I want to get in like my 80s red convertible and just go like fucking cruising. Oh shit. God damn, this is some old arcade cruising music.
Testing mic. Testing mic. How is it?
Test is successful.
Test is successful. Thank you for following Haas00312. Sorry for the barking dogs.
Daniel, hey, Daniel. Hey, Daniel! Daniel! Hey, hey. This boy, this Daniel boy. Barking from across the room. All right, I think we are done and ready to go. Got held up. And he also wasn't being a good boy because he was one of the reasons why he was barking so much was he was chasing Kyra at first. All right, weird music right now, but we got a cat. She's like, Dad, let me go. Oh, and there she goes. Anyway, hello boys. We are ready to stream here tonight. Wanted to get started, oh geez, a long time ago, but you know what? It took me longer to make dinner than I was expecting it to, and then I got stuck on the toilet afterwards. Not physically stuck, just the fact that Rika, I think you need to turn your thing way down.
That better?
Let me test. Yeah, just make sure it's turned all the way to the left. Because I can hear myself talking normally, which is definitely not
I always
okay.
hear myself talk normal.
Yes, but you're also not the one streaming, so that's bad.
Meh.
Anyway. Yeah, anyway, late start. Late start for our earlier stream, I guess you could say. Regardless. Oh, also got a haircut, so my hair's not as crazy out the back anymore. And let's just fucking get into this game, I say. Also, what the fuck is this goddamn song? They're Like Locusts. Not a great song. Not a great song. Usually they're all bangers coming out of that channel. That chiptune station. Ooh, look. It's got the room with all the books that we read before. Rick has made me some freaking crazy looking pina colada. Look at this. It's like chunked up above the lip of the cup. This looks like I'm at a fucking fair or something. This is great. Could you get me a paper towel real quick, babe? Thank you. Yeah, no, just like that being at a fair too, I guess. It got all over me. Thank you, baby. Alright. Now that I've wiped all the pina colada off myself, and I'm starting to deal with brain freeze, let's get into the game. It's good pina colada, though. Just heard, by the way, from Leviathan that he will be up here on Wednesday night. So, which I'm going to be streaming that night. So we might do something. We might do some multiplayer game. We'll have to see.
Oh.
Yep. All right. Let's talk to the great defective. No, that's not what we want to do.
Ah! Look, Mr. Naruhodo-san.
That's okay. We all got to get back into our voices. We all got to make slight adjustments on the stream. I don't think she's coughing. That's okay. Aha! There he is. Where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed.
He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book.
Hey, like I said, we got to get back into it, okay?
I hope he won't mind if we disturbed him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, you two. Good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met? It was just a couple days ago.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We were together on the SS Buria. Buria?
Yes, of course. The Buria. And let me see. What happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Osogi. He died, tragically. But you were a great help to us. Yes, but of course. The case of Mr. Osogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it?
Oh,
Well, you seem to remember something of it at least.
what an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Sholm.
Oh boy.
This is Mr.
Oh no, my dear madame, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo and Mr. Sasato. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. I lose the first round. Or at least he's good-natured.
Why does he feel really
In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Saseki-san in that short of amount of time? I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. This is actually something that Sherlock Holmes talks about how he doesn't memorize or learn anything that can't pertain to like solving cases and shit. There's literally a point where Watson talks about how Sherlock was amazed when Watson told him that the Earth revolved around the sun and not the other way around. And by brain attic, of course, is a reference to a mind palace, which is like an actual memorization technique that you can use. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. This is, I think, actually the very story which they talked about it. I think that's the very first story chronologically with Watson and Sherlock, because that's where Watson actually meets Sherlock. Yes, okay, fine. I'm a fucking nerd. I got it. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose.
Mr. Sholm, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned.
Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madame, I should be only too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. Alright, start with the arrest. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines.
But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justified to arrest him on so little?
I'm sorry, Miss Sasato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean.
What?
I can't believe I was looking Sasato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you that I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim, We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quite quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit, then? That I could not tell you, but it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophilia. Ooh, that's a word. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no.
Oh dear.
You know what? Real quick, I've got a idea for sound mixing purposes.
Sound mixing purposes?
Yes, we're going to open up the volume mixer. We are going to turn the game down a bit. Because remember, there's no volume slider in the game for, like, music and shit. And then turn this up a bit here. There we go. Mr. Garadeb, the landlord. Ah, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man.
It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services.
And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service. Nice joke. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid.
Yes, I've read as much in my Great Britain primer.
And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry. Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family.
Goodness, how extraordinary.
As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically, in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. Oh, they're definitely hiding something. And that maid is fucking going crazy with her tea pouring, man. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot it is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later.
Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one.
Oh, good to see she's finally defending the defendant. But sooner or later, as I said.
I don't believe that's the issue here.
About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window, of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. What? Window tax? What is that?
Surely, not a tax on windows.
Precisely that.
Oh my goodness.
How can Windows pay taxes? They don't even have jobs. Doesn't make any sense at all. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money.
How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light.
Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price.
Because the room is so awful, I should think.
Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh, also, what the fuck? Moved in a week ago, I'm sorry, I'm still not buying that shit. Have you seen these goddamn books? He did not... Did you just fucking truckload these things in here? Also... I'm not crazy, right? Hold on, boys. I gotta change something. I gotta affect something with my webcam. I'm looking very orange today.
Very peachy.
Too peachy. Let's see. Hold up. I think that's already looking quite a bit better. Okay. There we go. I'd say that looks better. Hopefully, I think.
Dark? Oh, there we go.
Looks good?
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I may change it again once the lighting... Yeah, I'm sorry, because I started a little bit earlier today, so light coming in from outside, it's always driving everything weird with my camera. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well, then I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly, too. The thing is... I don't think you missed anything. And while we're on the talk of your internet shitting the bed, Cody Cat, wanted to make sure... Okay, I wanted to make sure I wasn't having anything shit the bed. We're good.
Where were you? When did it went to shit?
Went to shits.
Mhm.
How you say did the shits?
Well, so we know where Day was left at to try to catch them up.
But no, we basically were just talking about stuff. No, you didn't.
Mhm.
I spent some time fixing my webcam a bit. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes. Trust. Mr. Sholmes... Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but... I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room. And there are witnesses who swear to have seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing.
Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us.
I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Gardeb, is it? Is? Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to the case.
Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence.
No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Gardeb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room.
Did he?
Back up to the Gardeb's chamber. Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there?
Mr. Herlock Sholmes?
Yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Miss Joan. Now then, why don't you tell me what... Ah! For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you are bally well doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you'd be so kind.
Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance.
Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out? According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Gardeb is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. Oh my god.
You just saw him?
Yes.
Mr. Sholmes?
He's this fucking weird spider person. He's always crawling around on the walls. Aha! We meet again, dear fellows.
Okay.
Good gracious! When did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. Whatever are you doing by the window? I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madame. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he... I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon.
Do you mean Mr. Sholmes?
There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Mr. Gardeb, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions that I have been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Cody Cat, what the fuck are you typing out?
What are you doing, Cody Cat? Mr. Naruhodo, look!
The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. How? How could you possibly? How could I possibly know? You mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts.
Oh.
Ugh. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Nature of the Beast. I love these. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Gardeb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Oh shit, did you see his face on the other side? He had a mark. Yet, living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well... Yet, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madame? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Ah. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Gardeb, at Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents.
I think it's not a lion, it might be a monkey.
You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Do they even have lions in India? I know they have tigers. I don't know if they have lions. The lion stabbed the lady. Now, Mr. Gardeb. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast.
He looks so bored.
No, he's got a hand on his face where the mark is, which we'll get to later. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man. I simply... But what we must now ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that have given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Oh. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. That's a long sentence. And so you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast has carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? I need more maid. I like doing the maid's voice. The aftermath of which we can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh dearie me. Well, that was bad though. Okay, less maid. Back to less maid. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Oh, This time, madame, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. Ah! There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the very heart of all tragedy, in fact. Oh, and by the way, she never said that, Marie Antoinette. It's a fabled thing. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There is only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. Man, this one was especially bad, I think. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes's great deduction of this beastly puzzle.
The beast might be a monkey.
No, yet I think. Gah! What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gardeb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it, again? Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies behind the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well?
But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Gardeb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse.
Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. What? Okay, what? What the fuck is that even supposed to mean? I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus.
And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I have ever heard of a lion that drinks tea.
Ah, my dear Miss Sasato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea.
Oh, what a glorious notion! Oh. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again.
I had a feeling that was coming.
A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deduction needs. You can do it.
Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning. of Herlock Sholmes's logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Topic 1. Nature of the beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Gardeb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that... I really didn't see the lion thing coming.
No, but if you observe Mr. Gardeb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room.
Yes, something with a very fierce nature.
But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India.
So what was it then?
We must follow Mr. Gardeb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. And we look here.
Oh yeah, I'm able to look around, right?
Yeah.
Ho-ho.
Monkey. There we go. A little girl?
What's this photograph?
It appears to be from Mr. Gardeb's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he?
He does, but you can't make out his bride.
No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face.
I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there.
The glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all.
But no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form.
I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, she certainly looks like that. Oh, looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you'd want to upset, that's for sure.
Oh, look! Have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it?
Yes, that's an unusual design.
It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. This must have been when Mr. Gardeb was still in the army.
He seems to be carrying his rather stout bride effortlessly and beaming a smile at the same time.
I suppose he was very strong in his younger years.
Hard to imagine now. He's as thin as a rake. Newlywed bride. Well, this is the lion statue that Mr. Sholmes picked out.
Yes, I wonder. Perhaps if he did live with a lion, it would prove to be a rather sweet companion.
I think that's like a mouse trying to tell its family that the cat around the house is sweet.
I suppose it is a bit of a flight of fancy, isn't it?
Anyway, the beast we're looking for is something else. Let's have a good look around. These are shells for the cannon, are they? What a strange place to keep them.
I imagine they have some significance to Mr. Gardeb from his time in the army. Ah, of course. He mentioned a battle to us, didn't he? Do you remember? He said that he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit him. I don't...
If a round that size hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it. Or Mr. Gardeb, for that matter. Mr. Sholmes has a Persian slipper, and this man has spent shells. Perhaps it's customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. Okay. Gotta be from this photograph.
We pick up the picture at all?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm looking around the edges to see if we can do anything with that. Yeah, man, I'm not finding anything around here right now. And no, I can't look up or down. And then this is my extremities that I can swivel to and from.
On the lion statue?
We already did. There's the mortar shells. Well, I mean, we think it's probably the mortar shells, right then? No? Blew up that stuff. I'm just not finding anything right now. No picture, can't do anything with this. Well, we can present it.
Take that!
Nope. Their butter wouldn't melt accomplice the cannon. But war is good for nothing. It brings only destruction. Something we must all strive to understand. That deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it. I'm quite proud of it. I find myself wanting never to have heard it. I'm quite pained by it, in fact. Oh, sorry. I'll try again. Yeah, I can't look behind the screen, though.
I guess try the picture now. Oh,
I guess. I don't know. I don't see how the picture is going to be related to the animal, though, right away. Saying at least the mortar shells can actually deal damage.
yeah, but so can an angry wife.
Take that!
No, not this either. Okay, then I honestly don't know what it wants me to do. There's only there's literally only 3 things I can click on. I've yet to examine it in detail. I did examine it in detail. How many conclusions you see? Okay, yes, I know, I did it wrong. What spectacularly contrived logic led you to this mindless conclusion? Oh, well, it's supposed to be logic and reasoning spectacular, so I thought I'd contribute to the show. This is my show, Mr. Naruhodo. Kindly perform any peculiar experiments on your own stage. Ugh, sorry.
We didn't examine it thoroughly? What?
Okay, yes, stop. We don't need to read this every fucking time. It's the Aku show. Cool. We gotta talk about it every time. Alright, let's present the face here then.
Take that!
There we go.
Right.
The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Gardeb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Indeed, surely a woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching the point. Too late. The fact remains that the beast which so clearly savaged this room was your wife, Mr. Gardeb. Gah! The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well... Yet, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madame? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me that with one glance in your direction, it is... Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current...
The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself.
Well, I don't know about fragile.
Oh, dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There is no sign of a Mrs. Gardeb anywhere.
But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Gardeb's wife could be.
It might be the wife. I mean, the maid. The ring.
Oh yeah, there it is. She's wearing a very large ring. Look.
Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishment.
Look you.
Oh, and it's on the ring finger on her left hand, which means the wife? It's surely a wedding ring.
It looks like it's on there for life, too. I can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size.
That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. You know, Mr. Gardeb's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one. It was a large sunflower design as well.
Really? You have a great memory for these things. Hold on, boys. Roomba's starting to... Speaking of maids, Rosie, our Roomba, is starting to go about cleaning. I need to pause it until the end of the stream. Really? You have a great memory for these things. A large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it?
Take that!
We have not done Danger Roomba yet. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Ah! Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Gardeb's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. Huh? No. You are Mr. Gardeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Gardeb herself. Oh my word! Oh! Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmised, this is the wife, yes, my Joan. Rather, let herself go, you might say, but she's... Ah! It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all, though, in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearance are a folly. You mean Mr. Gardeb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Gardeb? Only in company, obviously, but listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. Nature of the beast, the raging wife of Mr. Gardeb. Solved. Topic 2, Aftermath. Now, Mr. Gardeb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Gardeb's wife a beast.
Yes. As a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable.
But Mr. Gardeb is standing beside her husband. But Mrs. Gardeb is standing beside her husband as we speak. Hold up, boys. Gotta drink down some of my drinker. Moved on to the large full cup now from the small one. Let's just give it a quick mix. It was rather full. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he?
Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then.
According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Gardeb's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? Oh my! Look at that bright red mark!
Wow. Gosh, that's quite something. And clearly made by somebody's hand.
God damn, look at that. The middle finger goes right over the fucking eye. Yes, Mr. Gardeb has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard.
I've never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing?
Well, there's a very limited number. There's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say.
Take that!
Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madam Joan Gardeb. Well, yes. You have been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Ah! How the blazes? Did you know? How did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Gerdeb to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise...
Didn't Mr. Shom say that the bills were all for line fodder?
Yes, but now we've established that the line never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garadeb's what? Is you.
There, pause.
Oh, sorry. Was Mr. Garadeb's wife.
Mr. Naruto, she's a person, not a thing.
Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact.
My goodness, yes. Why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force?
I'd love to know the answer to that question.
Oh dear, this plate has been smashed to pieces. And nobody seems inclined to tidy up the mess.
Perhaps it is some sort of high art.
Really, Mr. Naruto?
Well, anyone who has a cannon on display in their living room is clearly a little eccentric.
Yes, let's call it centric.
Alright, we're going with it. Oh, here it is, boys, right here.
Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here. Look. Oh. Mr. Garadeb is clearly an avid reader.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark.
Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Ooh.
And look, next to the signature here.
Lip marks, made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture.
Don't get any ideas, Sasada-san.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
So this bookmark is actually a love note then.
Take that!
Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. God, yeah, look at that. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Oh, goddamn! But I don't know the Bali woman. You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say. That's right, that's what I've been saying! A likely story. Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place, and that note must already have been in there. So, the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right. That's what I've been saying. A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you'd forgotten, is John. A likely story. Are you questioning my name now? God damn, this woman. And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite. Like the way they snap too, though. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can clearly be seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madame, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look to the Tower of Cakes.
But surely Mrs. Garda didn't eat carpet.
No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper.
No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholm's deduction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Mrs. Garadeb's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer.
Cool,
On fire.
She's kind of hard to see here, but there we go. We got a Sethra baby. Sethra on cam. And on top of that, I wanted to maybe play real quick. Sorry, with my camera one last time. No, that's too bright. Okay. Now I guess it's okay. Where it's at. It seems a little dark. Oh, this is what happens when I turn on my camera when the sunlight's out. It always ends up being like that. Alright, back to the game. But yes, Sethra is on her little pad here by me. Alright, let's see what we can see.
Yes. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it?
The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. It looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over.
Oh dear, that would be dangerous.
Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing.
Yes, I didn't notice that before. Really?
Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the three missing from its holder?
It's on the floor.
The carpet here has been ripped to shreds.
Yes, and according to Mr. Sholm's deduction, the
Tears.
tears match those who made by an Indian lion teeth exactly.
You almost said tears, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, look here.
What is it?
If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks.
Oh yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all.
Let's rethink this with that in mind. Okay, wait. Excuse me. See, now I wonder, should I do the candlestick or do this part down here? Which do I present? I'm going to put it on the candle and present that. But it still may give me a negative, and it may be the candle.
Take that!
We'll see. Alright, I guess I gotta do the candlestick. Cause of the carpet is the carpet itself. Now I realize that appears to be something of a circular argument. However, it's the tack I've decided to try, and I'm not changing course now. That deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear. Okay, yeah, we've already heard this. Alright, it wants me to do the candlestick then. No, stop showing me this again. Point is, how did the carpet end up like that? Yes, okay, cool. Coolio.
Take that!
It even says, look at the, it could have been, look at the candle knocked over on the floor. Look at the carpet, because of the burns. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of the ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. The scorch marks? It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Whew. Mrs. Garadeb's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused a candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds, the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, for the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was in a scene of fire. Sorry, that didn't work out too well. Mr. Sholmes, I salute you! Carpet scorched by a small fire. Solved. Deduction complete. Elementary! These are fun. It's the dashed, long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material.
For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seemed.
Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be rather closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly an apt. Ah! Here we go again. And the carpet, was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor? Afraid so it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being.
Over here, Mr. Gardeb?
Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There I was, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books, incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite, book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride? Ah, yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again. I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage.
Mr. Sholmes' deduction turned out to be correct once again.
It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it was a total carnage. Flames everywhere and the old stick in full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think.
So at exactly the same time, as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below.
Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment. And
that was so adorable.
And I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing.
Dipper can catch tennis balls with his paws. Oh, really?
There's a lot of dots going on. Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. What can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Gardeb's situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry. Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no. Is it that time already?
If we are to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to.
So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare some supper for Mr. Gardeb. Oh yes, I'm so sorry.
Thank you both very much for your time.
Soseki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm going to have to give him an answer. This isn't the prison at all.
It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison.
I thought maybe I had made a mistake, but I guess it makes us go here. Yes, I know. Let's hail a car... Oh.
What's the matter?
It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Gardeb's house.
What? Oh.
What the fuck is wrong with this game? I had no idea this was gonna be coming up, folks. This is beyond the pale.
You just make something very flamboyant.
Oh my gosh. I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
What?
Who are you calling an old man, you rum-looking enemy priminy?
I don't know what he just said.
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Who's this Horatio fella, eh? What are you on about?
Excuse me.
Damn, who are you now?
I'm sorry. It just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
Yeah, you're a lawyer. What? If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law. Oh, he does look like a bumblebee, and he's even got like little wings. Oh my god, he's got the little wings and his bag. Yeah, it's like a little little thorax. Thorax, right? Yeah.
Oh my god. The bumblebee.
Fine. I'll be on my way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet. Fucking does some ye old dabbing. Gee, get thee to a nunnery. Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you?
For reals, what just... I do hope you're not injured.
Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you. What was that about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either.
Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here in the Gardeb residence?
Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Gardeb mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. This fucking face. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Yes, a gentleman named Natsume? Oh, more worthy a palmist in my battle of words ne'er could there be. Sorry, battle, did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see.
I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances, at least.
So, fair maiden, so, good gentleman, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well.
What the? I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room.
Oh, what the fuck is this game? It seems he's unaware of what's happened to us. What's happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Saseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Garadeb house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find a carriage.
Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return.
I want more of the Bumblebee Man. That guy's fun to voice act. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over.
Is he more fun than the jester-looking guy?
Yeah, I was too busy trying to make the jester guy not be Herlock Sholmes.
Oh,
fuck
goodness.
me. How did I make this guy talk?
He was very schizophrenic.
Okay, I think he was the one that was like, "Oh, ah, ah."
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
It was fucking Crocker from Fairly Odd Parents.
Yes.
What's that?
Like a Shatner. Make him a Shatner. Oh dear.
Oh, it's you. You're here, you came. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I'm so touched. Okay, I do remember. I do remember how I had this.
We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume.
Oh no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nipponese.
There's the...
Oh, now, let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other... Oh my god, fucking show me who's talking. On the other hand... It is through the friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. It's you. The miserable rotten spy, Herlock Sholmes.
Mr.
I like the way he strikes a pose. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything per se, save observing, of course.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight, and cost me not a penny. Or my delay, sorry. Was it day? Whatever. Ah, you! How dare you, Herlock Sholmes! Ugh. I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bedamned!
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What? Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean?
What the hell does that mean?
Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now about the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh, no, why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow? Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh, no. What do you mean? Please tell me, summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words.
Goodness, stop with all the S's.
No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. 16 words. Very good. Oh my goodness, can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly! Remember,
Yes,
he does do, he's specifically an author of, haikus. So yes, like syllable and word counting is pretty important to him, I would imagine.
Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper, but they died. Right afterwards, still.
Oh, here you go, babe. You're saying it anyway.
Oh, but then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. He burned to death.
Mr. McGilded. What? Ah, I am impressed, Miss Sasato. You have an eye for detail.
Actually, the Lord Chief just told us.
Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that, having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zeeks killed the man himself?
Oh no, he couldn't have. Surely.
You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow.
Oh, yes. Why, of course he is.
Of course he is. Then why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that?
Reaper.
Van Zeeks is a quite exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. Ah, that's good. Soseki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion, in particular, is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals, and corrupt lawyers for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling impostors as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail.
But it means the wrong verdict can be passed.
And sadly is from time to time. And sadly is from time to time, my dear madame. It is simply the reality of the situation. And that's all right. However, those indicated by Lord Van Zeeks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed.
Oh my.
Though the adjudication may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking. Disappear? But how? Ah, by all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by highwaymen. Oh, no, 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 no! On all examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. I knew it. I'm a dead dodo done for doomed! I really do try to get those out as best I can and as quickly as I can. It's very hard to read them while also doing motions as he's saying them. When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Gardeb's house, I assume? Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain. That's what I thought. Okay, so he's been here a year, but he's been at that lodging for a week.
For a week, yeah.
But he still managed to completely fill it with books. But I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me all the time, from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away.
You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
I did already do the title, A Japanese Lawyer in London. I did that. That was a stream earlier, yeah. I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road, a week ago now. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money. It appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it, but if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true. It was all true. You mean the room really is cursed then? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. That one wasn't as good. No, that was my least favorite one so far. If only there was someone. Just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really, no one at all. To believe. Yes. To believe. To believe. Mr. Sholmes. Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo, pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Buria, if you recall. The Buria. That case. The one with the snake. Well, yes. The snake was such a small part. At that time, I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me? I see, yes. You mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room? Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those which I choose to believe in.
What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Asada's like them's fighting words. I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning, whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right. He's right! Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Whether or not I can believe myself. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. Fucking Saseki's eyes. You were so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe.
Already?
Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? I'm sure Saseki would like to go.
Oh dear. There's never enough time, is there? What the fuck is he doing?
Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? What to believe in? The defendant, justice, or the truth? How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, that too. His
Read
eyes.
their names, honey.
I couldn't. I was too busy looking at his eyes. They had enraptured me. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end.
Why would you remember that?
Yeah, that was a really random thing to recall. Mrs. Sato,
Yes.
remember how they just kept pouring tea into that cup? It was really fucking weird, wasn't it? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me out in court?
Absolutely. And I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant.
That's nice. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time to stop looking backwards. Cosmo believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now, too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Soseki-san has no one. He's all alone, so it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster.
You're not gonna let anyone down.
Can't do it. Can't let anyone down.
All I could think of, Jude. Down. Oh.
All right, boys, let's keep it rolling. 20th of February, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber. Well, never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? At least we had a day away.
We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible.
Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass.
Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right.
Good morning. Yeah,
Okay.
I was right. Oh, look at his eyes. This dude hasn't slept at all. Ah, Mr. Natsume, good morning.
Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot.
The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally?
Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume.
I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. Really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor. I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yes? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. Do you know why that might be, Miss Sasato?
I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea.
So that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Lord Van Zeeks? Is that right, Miss Sasato?
I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zeeks is on the front page of every one.
I knew it.
Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday.
Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zeeks' return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was.
I believe that appearance made every greater waves here in the capital than today's.
But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country.
Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon, for what appears to be a mundane murder?
And I want to point out the person supposedly isn't even dead yet. Attempted murder.
That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers.
Mundane? Mundane? It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us.
Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it.
Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago.
Yes, I agree.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you. Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times, it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper! Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers.
I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck.
Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive! Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student, new to London, with little in the way of experience or skills, or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight your corner until the bitter end. And I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume. Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side.
Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant, Miss Mikotoba Esquires.
What?
I am in your debt forever. I shall never forget.
Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once.
That's a bailiff. All right then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yeah. Yes! This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom, and my second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma, because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. Belief. Believe it.
All right, Naruto.
Yes, 10 a.m. the courtroom. Oh, look, there is I spied a familiar face as the head juror. We'll have to see how this plays out for us. I'm hoping it's not going to be bad.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this courtroom to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago, a mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance.
Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description.
Sasato-san.
After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent.
Driving him to drink already. Fucking burn. Basically, Sasato is basically like, scoreboard. Very true. And a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was, too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate, violent end. You see him? Oh shit, I see 2 people on there that are of note now.
Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public?
This guy from the first trial.
I don't think we're gonna be very lucky in this. He hates us.
You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone.
God damn, that neck is tiny.
Well, I must warn you, I'm rather ruthless than I appear. Let's hope I can remember that.
Oh, well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow. This was the second one I saw.
Oh dear.
I'm afraid to say, I think it's quite possible that mustached foreigner did the deed.
What the fuck, lady?
Oh my.
Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Sorry, didn't quite catch that. Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zeeks.
Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister act. Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. A knife crime? I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are.
Just look at the sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese.
Yo, this fucking game.
Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, didn't quite catch that.
Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in this great chamber. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand.
Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
Oh, God. I also don't remember how this guy's voice was.
It changed a lot.
It keeps changing. Your name and occupation, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard.
Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector?
The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be. Yes. Having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since.
What? So they don't even know who she is for sure?
Comatose, I see. But her life is not in danger.
Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector.
So, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence, if you please.
File containing an overview of the case and details about the victim. She was found with a knife in her back and is currently in hospital, yet to regain consciousness. Let's take a look at that actually right now. Oops, sorry. Actually, we also didn't take a look at this is the receipt. Customer Mr. Natsube, the sum of 2 shillings tendered in receipt of the picture of Monsieur Lecoq, a meal for Gabrau, and Canterbury yearnings. Incident report. Details. Young woman rendered unconscious following a stab wound to the back. Victim olive green, female, stout build, early 20s. Location, pavement of Briar Road, east side. Reporting officer Rolly Beatty. Or Beat. Whatever. Rolly Beat. We'll call him that, yeah. Additional notes. The victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from the single stab wound from the large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant was seen running away by the reporting officer and was successfully arrested the following day. Oh, so the officer is the one who saw him run away and supposedly saw the attack. Gotcha.
What of the weapon that was used? So, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back.
Ouch. That big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now.
With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman.
Can't be that big and heavy, can it? It's a folding knife. Even the scragged-looking Soseki-san, I suppose.
A common or garden jackknife, I would say, rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
Let's go take a look at that knife. Oh, honey, it looks like something's gone down over there. Could you please take a look at it?
Where?
Over there, on the floor. What is it? Why do I need help with the napkins? All right. Just a moment, boys. You know what? Now wouldn't be a bad time for a potty break anyway. It looks like Miko may have torn up a few napkins. Be right back, everybody. Don't you go nowhere. You know, this is gonna be our be right back noise. Or music, I mean. All right, we are back. Looks like it was a 1-2 punch of cats knocked down some napkins, and Miko then tore them up once they were knocked onto the floor.
Yeah,
Hello,
happens.
Miko. She's right here. She just walked up. Hey, Miko, baby. Oh, she's a cutie. Oh, she's so cute. Oh, she's giving me little licks. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Real quick reminder though, hey, if you're new here, why don't you give me a follow? That'd help out on Twitch. Also, I'm live on YouTube right now at the same time, so subscriptions, likes, tickling the bells, all that would help out. It really would. Like, I know I hate having to sit there and say it and stuff and advertise for it, but it really would help. And I appreciate all of my followers and all of my viewers. Back to the game. Jackknife, a large but commonplace folding knife. It was found lodged in the victim's back. I can't find anything out of it. There we go. Open it up. It seems to have lost its point.
Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo. Just at the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing.
Yeah, but just the tip. You're right. Well spotted, Miss Sasato.
I wonder what could have happened to it.
Yes. You don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you?
Oh dear, I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful.
Well, the thing about stabbing somebody from behind is that there's a lot of ribs back there. There's a lot of bone on your back. Let's open it up again, because I just want to take a look around both sides of the blade. All right. From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
If theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
The fuck? Pray, forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. The fuck? But your words have soured its hallowed bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. Yes, sir. Oh, here comes the fish and chips munching boys. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought, he was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the book to arrest him.
Old books, you say?
Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident.
Ah, yes, I can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I will take that photographic print as evidence. Please, Inspector.
Wait, we have we have color photographs now? When the fuck did that happen?
You Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
Well,
Forgive me, Lord Van Zeeks, but the defendant is not denying everything as you put it.
What are you doing, Mrs. Sato?
Do go on.
Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, now you mention it. When we visited him in prison yesterday, he did tell us what had happened, what had all happened. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat. She was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there, so I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
A green overcoat?
Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print is wearing.
Oh my! A photographic print in full color! What will the world come up with next?
Yeah, see, yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. I was like, hey, this is some snazzy evidence. The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else there at the time, just the two of them, the victim and the accused. No, Cody Cat. It's not how things work here. Don't you know they just scoop up people, some of which you already know, and then they just start throwing fireballs around. It's basic justice system. Come on. In other words, there's nobody else who could have possibly stabbed the woman. A fact that the accused concedes.
It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal. Counsel, proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance.
As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog.
Hold it!
A light fog, you say?
Well, light for London. You could see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much farther, though.
That's light, is it? Hell, if that's true, that's crazy. Like, I remember in the mornings back at my parents' house, going out, like, you know, to go to school and stuff. If I couldn't see the end of my street, which we lived way back in a cul-de-sac, but if I couldn't see the end of the street, I was like, wow, this is a thick fog. If I couldn't see the other side of the fucking street from where I was standing, holy shit. Oh, the other end of the street, I mean, like, you know, the other end of the block kind of thing. But man, the other sidewalk, that's fucking crazy fog.
Around these parts, yes. Not something I'd expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course.
I've read that London is famous for its fog, but in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. How quaint.
Yes, well, it's something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate.
I see.
At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of the arm. Indeed, the other day I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling.
Ugh, Sasada-san and I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen.
However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused.
Here, I was under the impression that there was heavy fog, but I guess it's just the exact opposite, huh?
Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else but the victim and the accused.
Hold it!
How are you able to state that with any certainty?
Quite simply, my learned friend, because that is what the witness to this crime have told us.
Or witnesses to this crime have told us. Ah, yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? Wake up.
That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard.
That is correct, Mom.
Then we must hear their testimony.
The prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand, should it be necessary.
But wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen...
I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas streetlights.
Ah!
The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime.
Okay, I'm already seeing it, boys. I'm already seeing some issues here. Because I'm pretty certain that that one of the witnesses is supposed to be a copper, a Bobby, who saw it happen. However, the Bobby was out there, I'm sure, doing his lamp lighting duties, which means this probably would have been in the dark then, not in the light. But we'll see. We'll get to that. Just, store that away in the old brain attic, if you will.
Quite, here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness.
Which means we really need to hear those witnesses' statements. If I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to.
It seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement.
Hold it!
From behind, you say?
That's right, as you can see from this print.
Yes.
Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. And as you say, this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in a critical condition, comatose no less. I'm afraid so, my lord. Yes, she's being treated at Bart's. I was hopeful that she'd come round before the trial started so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events. Luck is on your client's side, it seems.
On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky.
Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor.
You know what, Han? I want to check that pictograph. We haven't checked that yet. Okay, so here she is. I'm guessing these are our client's books. Kind of a weird looking angle, isn't it? You would have to be like, you have to be stabbing like, you know, kind of sideways with your hand here for that. That is a very odd angle indeed. We'll see if it comes into play.
Hold it!
Mr. Natsume's belongings.
I think you'll find it's all there in the pictographic print of the crime scene. Yes, the 3 books on the floor. That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand, which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example.
He's very clever, isn't he?
What do you mean?
He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hand full with his book. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape he might have had before we even knew it was there.
You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back? That must be what happened, my lord, yes. Those being a number of old books he just bought, he was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems.
Hold it!
The defendant apparently visits a secondhand bookshop on a daily basis.
Yes, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books.
Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector?
Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused's lodgings is this place here, Bourbon Books. A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Meerschaum Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end, which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. Something like this.
All right, now I gotta check something, boys. Because I'm not good with names. I got a bad memory for names. But I want to check the name of the bookstore on the receipt.
I thought he went to
Yes.
Bart.
No, Bart's is the hospital.
Oh, right. Awesome.
Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector.
Hold on.
The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop.
Mr. Naruhodo, I think that what the inspector just told us can turn out to be of vital importance.
Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being your books. Your books. Which, by the way, is a good name for an old bookstore.
Yeah, they didn't. That's a different bookstore.
Yep. The bookshop's name. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor?
What?
Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance.
Maybe.
Oh, well, you know, I mean, yes. It could be a very important clue.
Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance, but please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector.
Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say. Could the man be any more sardonic?
It was on his way home from Bourbon Books, a second-hand bookshop he apparently patronizes.
Present.
Objection.
If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson.
What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books.
And you found it in the accused's room, did you?
Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it.
Go on.
This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your Books? Y-O-R-E, I presume?
Yes, my lord. So Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books.
What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir.
Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books.
It's just that. Well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
But, in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves
Objection.
it. Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Not if he would still be going along the same path, though. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I disagree. I mean, after all,
I have the street map here. If that might be of help.
Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would most certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all.
Could that be true?
Ma. He rather depends on what.
It was kind of Mickey Mouse-ish.
My. It
There we
rather
go.
depends on where this other bookshop is. But I do declare it may be a possibility.
Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely. It absolutely could be right. Technically true.
Inspector Gregson, where's the Your Books establishment?
Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that Your Books... Ah, fuck. See, this is what I was talking about. It may not... it may not be enough.
It's just here on the next corner of Meerschaum Street, going east.
And there you have it. As you can clearly see now... Oh.
Yeah, but where would the
My-
other receipt come from?
What?
Is there another receipt? How would they have known that?
No, they just assumed he came from that one. Because
Okay.
it was the closest.
My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms.
Hmm.
To your future career in the circus.
You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you.
Get him, Sasato.
Oh my. Sato.
I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go.
Hmm.
If the accused was coming home from your books instead of bourbon books, there's no
Yeah,
doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed.
He still could have gone the other way around, though.
He could have, but we don't have any, it can go either way.
Yes, thank you, Inspector. Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend.
God damn it.
Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Ah!
Bro. As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try. What did I say? I've had enough of this now.
Beg your pardon, terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that?
Mr. Naruhodo, we mustn't give up.
What do you mean?
If the prosecution's assertions is correct, the members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty.
Ah, she's absolutely right.
We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully.
They claim Soseki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from your books, but... I mean, he could have gone the other way. The thing is, though, it's just, it doesn't feel like this is really where we should be going for the sticking point. Yeah. I think we can let this go. Because it doesn't matter anyway. Because, yeah, Reika just said from the kitchen. I guess she's getting herself a snack. But Ricky just said from the kitchen, it doesn't matter because Natsume admitted that he was walking behind the victim anyway and was about to overtake her. So we'll let this go. I think I'd better leave it alone for now.
Very well. If the defense has no rebuttal here.
Mr. Naruhodo, as I said before, we can't give up here. We must fight back.
Yes, I realize that. But sometimes the best way to fight is to do nothing, you know? You're right, what am I talking about? Doing nothing won't get us anywhere. It wasn't sitting right with me.
Objection!
Yes, we had
Oh,
to
okay.
go through the
Alright,
way,
no
okay.
choice. I still think nothing's gonna come from this. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
First, we must deal with the inexcusable tardiness of your objection.
Mr. Naruhodo, remember, it's time to fight back.
I don't know what's worse, the court penalty or Sasato-san's piercing stare. The worst part is my own wife in real life telling me I should leave it, and then gets back to the mic and in character berates me for leaving it. Oh, that kills me. It hurts me.
Explain yourself, counsel.
Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way around. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime. Yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. So then he could have still taken the long way around. I don't believe this. I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what say you insightful jurors? But even if that is the case, the defense still... I agree with Lord Van Zieks, wholeheartedly and in every way. What? I don't believe it. Does this mean... We members of the jury are completely convinced now.
Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty!
Voice is a lot deeper.
Guilty!
I didn't see any witnesses.
It would appear the jury's leanings are unanimous.
To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably. He's eating chips. Hold on.
Mr. Naruhodo.
No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I can't do it. I can't let anyone down. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of the scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow.
Are they gonna keep doing this every trial?
Those are the eyes of Quarry, not yet willing to give up and die. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial? Rights of the defense written into antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses.
Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with a summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with the Nipponese whippersnapper and his uncas refusal to throw in his alley.
Very well then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, You will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty.
The jurors' contentions.
For pity's sake, that little Nipponese oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he?
If he said, oh my god.
Stop eating chips.
If he said that, oh my god, whatever. If he said that the woman is green collapsed before his eyes, why it can only have been the victim?
The man wouldn't have gone around the house on his way back from the bookshop. Around the houses. Not in winter.
So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
I really don't care. Can't we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing. Your books, yes, nice shop that. But bourbon books, no, not worth a visit.
Huh?
With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are all too clear.
When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes.
Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant then fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Oh dear. Even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natame's guilt now.
Ugh, why did we have to run away like this? And now we are supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How can I possibly make a case for the defense?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is no time for grumbling.
I agree.
If we want to force the trial to continue...
Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must take the jurors' charge. I must make the jurors change their minds. For some reason, I cannot speak. But, well, 4 of them, at least.
Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward.
You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination.
Yes, my lord. Just need to keep this trial going somehow. Whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke. You can do it.
I have, like, no evidence.
look at Inspector Gregson looking at us from the back.
For pity's sake, that Nipponese oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he?
If he said that the woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why, it can only have been the victim.
Okay, we don't need to read. I just need to read them myself real quick.
Alright.
And would have gone around the houses, his way back from the shop. Okay, so this guy, obviously, we can't pit him against anyone. He doesn't care, he just wants to leave the court. This guy's going on about the bookstores. Okay, well, I think we can maybe pit... This guy's just saying that he already admitted it himself. Let's pit him. Oh, can we press them for more? I forgot. Okay, yes, we can. But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books. Oh yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? What was it? Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, that's true. And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter's nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes, why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road. Ah, so I'm supposed to be convincing you here. I have given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone the Calabash way, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. Reason why Soseki-san might have taken the longer way home.
Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway the young man's opinion without one.
Alright, so let's go back through them, because I've got to compress them.
Hold it!
Excuse me, but aren't you...
Yes, that's right. I was the witness stand myself just 2 days ago.
Yes, I had a feeling I knew your face. Or the sight of it, anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you?
That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came up to London to work. And it was all going swimmingly until you started frolicking around Bruce Fairplay as a man of repute.
Sorry.
Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young hatter pegged as criminals.
Oh, well, you know, water under the bridge.
Now, there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been badgering me non-stop.
If I could turn back the clock.
Well, anyway, I don't know about the hatter, but at least I'm in the clear now. I'm free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't.
Thank goodness. All right. Maybe I might struggle to change this man's mind, given our awkward history.
Oh dear. I wonder what's become of Mr. First now. What happened to
Yeah,
First?
Mr. Lady First.
Hold it!
You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him.
Well, quite. That's precisely my point. Clearly, that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly, the funny little no policeman was a disturbing mustache is the culprit.
But let us not forget, madame, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman.
Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes.
But if that's a lie, as you're suggesting, do you not think he would have concocted something more credible?
Oh, I really couldn't say. After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds? Gosh, why is this game so
God damn.
racist?
I could tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it.
I do declare, the man has already made the admission. He himself has stated that there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could possibly have committed this awful crime.
There's also the fact that the knife could have been thrown at a distance. It's a heavy knife.
If no one else could have done it, the accused must be the man. Really, who could be more simple?
Could have good penetrating power.
Your argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit.
Oh my, you are too kind, my lord.
That went well for her.
Hold it!
I'm interested to hear what he says here.
Whatever's the matter, young man?
You're the wife of Mr. Gardeb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume his room?
The master's wife? Where did you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand.
She's keeping up that charade. Ugh, this is going to be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd been selected for the jury in this trial, I mean.
Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I have no choice.
I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, does he?
Yes, that's right, although he's only been in a little over a week now.
And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this?
Oh my goodness me, yes, he's just the sort.
What?
Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something.
It's not his fault there's no windows.
Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How could people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm. Nothing more.
Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I'd better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She said enough damning things already.
Hold it!
A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. Ah. The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. Racist, I don't have a sticker for you, they're racist. If I don't get work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I go to the union every morning to find out what needs doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk, it is. So, you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner from where it all happened. By that old bookshop it was. There we go, boys. What? Another coincidence. That's right. Meerschaum Street it was. Meerschaum Street. Rika.
On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets.
Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please. What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with now? Please, sir, it's important. Fine, I'll do it then. On the day it happened, I was digging up Meerschaum Street from dawn till dusk. So we already know that there's now a reason for him to go a long way around. We'll bring that up in just a bit. First, though, want to talk to this old guy.
Hold it!
Sorry. Fold it, you say? Fold what?
No. What I said was hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often?
Yeah, I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question?
Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
Just before 5, you say? Exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time?
Oh, yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry, not after that dreadful time I had.
What do you mean?
Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head.
There you go, boys. That's the person. That's the person that,
Broke the bike?
No, that's the person that, that fell in front of our person, our defendant. He said he saw a person in a green coat go down.
Oh, yeah.
I knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road.
That's right. I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books.
Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant.
Sorry. Extremely sick? No, I'm quite all right now.
What the fuck are you posting, Rika?
It sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt.
Oh, naturally spawning pink sheep. Yeah, no, that can happen.
Yeah, that
time to time.
happened.
It is rare, though. I was like a gnat. What? You're still up?
But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective. Yeah, didn't we see in Minecraft Hardcore for Peebs?
Yes.
They found 2 naturally spawned ones.
Yeah.
They're bad luck. Be careful of creepers.
I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume of anything. That's something.
We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruhodo. Cunningly.
Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again, carefully. Yes, I know. Look, I didn't go to the end on purpose. I had to listen to what the old guy said. Stop holding my hand, Kim. Yes, don't... Oh, it's you.
Yes, don't hold back. Hit them all against each other.
Down, girl. Alright, so we'll pit her against him.
Objection!
Those 2 statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning.
Hey, flaw? What are you talking about, counsel?
Well, juror number 2, juror number 6.
Ma, whatever do you mean, sir? I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you.
Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There is at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack... Man, I love the 3D in this game, though. He had been to your books and purchased a number of secondhand titles, and then returned home on foot. Rika?
But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey.
That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes.
Yes, we are well aware of all this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection!
Can we really be sure of that, madame?
Ma, whatever do you mean?
I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood.
Oh my.
My goodness, you mean... There we go. That's right, I'm referring, of course, to hard of hearing juror number 6.
Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today?
That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim.
Well, look at that. My goodness me.
Sorry, you need a pee?
And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell.
On Calabash Road.
Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home.
Oh my.
You idiot old man, if you hadn't been so daft to be roaming about there, we'd have boxed this off hours ago. And really, what were you thinking, wearing such a befuddling coat?
What did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days, huh? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat? Is it?
My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but
You'd like to change your leanings, I presume?
I do declare that I would. I should be to call for a verdict of not guilty.
Thank you.
And I would too.
What?
Is it a crime to change your mind? Is it? Well...
Oh,
Immediately
gentle
goes to
Yona.
his fucking hamster face. What I want to know is how do the chairs know they're going to change their verdict before they do the fire thing?
Oh, well done, Mr. Noro. That was wonderful.
Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It's strengthened our position somewhat.
Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only,
Yes.
if we could just identify one more
I
clue
got
of
it.
discrepancy, that would,
We might be
we
able.
might be able to tip the balance completely.
Oh, don't you worry. I got it. Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Van Zeeks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent. But by whatever means we have at our disposal.
I'm not even in this scene. Thank you, counsel. On with the summation examination, please.
Yes, my lord. Alright, pitting him now against him.
Objection!
Those two statements are clearly at odds with one another.
At odds, Council. Explain yourself.
Please, don't point. It wasn't me, I swear.
Eh? What?
I just want to get this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3. Oh, me, sir. What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of second-hand books. And on the same day, we know that there were works being carried out on Meerschaum Street, making it impassable, which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meerschaum Street and down Briar Road. Oh, yes, of course. What do you think, sir?
Well, yes, you can't argue with that, really, can you? We must have a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way.
So, the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have.
I suppose that must be right, eh?
Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, but we see now that he had no choice. My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may.
Yes?
I don't think, in all good conscience, that I can say the man's guilty now. I like this guy. He's very pleasant. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened.
He actually just seems the nicest out of everybody right now.
He also seems like he's truly thinking about things. Unlike some of these people.
What say you, sir?
Who, me? Well, all right then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in. That's what I say.
It needs to be filled in.
Because he's a road worker. Gotcha.
Well, that summation examination has concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The ayes 2, the noes 4. So the noes have it. Not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Why would they have to say objection?
Oh my god. He needs to be having wine-covered gloves. His gloves are literally white.
Could it
Well,
seem
it's also should be dripping.
Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice moments after raising an objection? Only to crush it in disgust? Pray forgive the discourtesy.
The fuck is this guy's deal?
Lord Van Zeeks? It seems I must retract my earlier remark.
What do you mean?
I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Eh?
Whatever do you mean?
Objection!
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth.
Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road, as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement, which you had excavated, sir? That's right. Took me a whole day, and they paid me a measly 2pence for it. Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me, do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no.
2 yards is a little less than 2 meters.
Less than 2 meters? That's not much at all.
In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend? Me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no.
What?
And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works?
Wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had a hope of passing anyway, and we just turn any gentlefolk back when they come. Kids just jump right over us all the time.
The accused is no gentleman, as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring... I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town.
Ah, is that true, is it?
The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road.
Crushed in a single sentence. This is what we were talking about before we got into all this nonsense, was that we were pretty certain he went that way anyway.
Or
And
someone he did drop his book. Someone could have picked up his books and moved them over there.
It's true, but his books are there. We wouldn't be contesting that.
and old man,
Cold man, you can talk.
you say that at around 5 o'clock on the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese man behind you at the time?
Oh, I can't say as I remember.
You don't remember? How about a wager, that my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw, but I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it.
Why don't you guys bring witnesses in?
Order! Lord Von Zeeks, explain yourself. My lord, if you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world would you not proffer it during the summation examination? I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. Ugh. But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over.
What are you talking about?
My lord, the prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand.
Finally.
Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses.
It's next witnesses.
Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident.
Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less.
I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness.
All right. No matter who Van Zeeks brings to the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent, and I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle is over.
You won't let anyone down. Oh my goodness.
And there you go, folks.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
Boys, girls, lords and ladies, gentlemen and gentlewomen of the jury, it is time that we call the stream for the night. We have now gotten a look at our two witnesses.
A
Definitely,
sleepy man.
definitely not the copper I was expecting. That is for sure. But they are both wearing matching scars And that alone is very interesting to note. Also, they have similar eyelashes and hair color too, so maybe they're twins.
Siblings.
Yeah. I also see that the sleepy cop's gonna get in trouble with my wife for chewing on his hat strap.
You should not be chewing on your hat strap. Like how you're not supposed to be chewing your necklace, honey.
All right, boys. Yeah, let's pass it on over to ending here. Cody Cat, thanks for watching. I think we got a follow earlier, which was cool. There was some people coming and going. Altogether, I think a fairly good stream for a small holiday. Little cheeky holiday stream. We did start late. I'm sorry about that. I do apologize. But for everybody else who is watching, no matter who you are, where you are, whenever the hell you're watching this, thanks for watching. Consider giving me a follow. I'd really appreciate that a lot. Stay safe out there, everybody. I will see you again on Wednesday with a possible multiplayer game starring
Leviathan.
Yes, Leviathan. Stay safe till then, guys.